Welcome back to AdvSouthAfrica. I'm Rob, and today we're focusing on the downsides or the disadvantages to having a cone filter. Now before we get to that, I did that in a bit of a motovlog setup, but while I was working on the cone filter, I had to do a little bit of maintenance. I have been struggling with a bit of a cold start. This didn't remedy the solution, but if you want to see what I did to the cone and how I changed the spark plug, and then from there on in the motovlog setup, I speak about the cone filter and so on. So I will timestamp it below. If you guys want to just click on the motovlog itself, you can do that. Otherwise, enjoy the full video. Cool, so here we are. I've taken all the fairings off the bike, key on, and okay, battery's going a little bit flat, but she won't start now. So my thoughts are, let's get rid of this cone filter with this sort of mesh, stick on that nice foam filter over there, and see if that helps, and then address that spark plug while we're here. So now I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be the issue, but I do know with my B-Wiz, once we put the bigger pipe on, rejected it and added a cone, starting struggled a little bit. So there's actually an inside and an outside to these filters. So we're going to put oil on this and on this, slip it back on, pop it on the bike. Alrighty, so we've run into a little bit of an issue. The size of the rubber that fits over the carb is a bit bigger on the sort of steel cone over there. This is 54 mils on it, although it looks a bit bigger to me. It looks about a 60, and the one that I have is a 50. So before I even oil this, I want to see that I can get that on the carb. So I'm going to boil some water, put that rubber in there, and then we'll pop it on, see if it fits. If it doesn't, looks like we're going to have to modify a little bit. Let's give a test fit here. Not even it. Okay, that's not gonna work. Okay, so plan A with the foam filter is not gonna work. The sizing's just a little bit too big. I can't get this over. So my thoughts are, let's go back to the cone, but I've got some foam filter maker right there, sheets of it. So my thoughts are, if I could do a band that I'll glue, slip it over here, we oil that, that'll restrict a little bit and do a little bit better purification of the air going in. So let's see if that's going to work. I hope it will. Okay, so here you can see the spark plug is a little bit carbon fouled. Not too sure if that's what's causing my issue. It shouldn't need doing right now, but we're going to do it now anyway. Get the new plug here. That should look pretty good. Well, obviously being new, it is good. Cool, and there you can see the new plug. Nice and clean. So let's pop that in and try give her a start. Okay, so top tip when it comes to spark plugs, put them in by hand as far as you can and then only tighten. Never go in with a tool, because if you cross thread this in the head, you're going to have a bad time. So what you can do, if it's a bit deep, just stick a rubber tube on the end and screw it in with that. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Just like that. It's got enough grip that it can spin, but then you can also just pull it out at the end. So I've managed to start the thread by hand. Let's push the tube on. Now we tighten down as far as we can. Makes it a little bit easier. Okay, I believe we're there. If anyone's looking to do this job at home, you're going to need a 16, and make sure it's the long socket because of the depth of the plug. Yeah, now we're on. There, that's it, just nip it down. There's no need to go really tight there. When you put your spark plug lead on, make sure you feel it click in. That's good. Okay, so that didn't sort out my cold start issue. That day the bike started no problem. The next day I had issues again. Since then I have solved the problem. That video will be linked up here if that video is out by then, but this is releasing first. So if you're watching it now, just keep an eye out, subscribe, it is coming, don't worry. And just one thing I want to mention before we get into the motovlog, unfortunately I had a little bit of distortion. I tried a new mic in my helmet and didn't quite work out. So as they say in Africa, it is what it is. So I will remedy that in the future. But this is a longer sort of motovlog. I want you guys to let me know if you enjoy it. If you do, there'll be more of them. Not just on this bike. The MT-07, a Vespa's coming soon, a BMW R100 RS. So there's lots coming on the channel. Obviously the KDX as well. But let's hop on the bike. Well, alrighty, let's get to the reason why you guys clicked on this video. So, what is the downside to having a cone filter on your bike? This one specifically being the Megelli 250R. So the real downside is actually maintenance. You're going to have to maintain this quite regularly. You're going to have to pull it out, clean it out, and that is a little bit of a mission. Let's go for a ride, I'll explain a little bit more. Okay, so before we get going on the disadvantages of a cone filter, I want to talk about the advantage. I mean, listen to this bike, it sounds fantastic, and that cone definitely enhances that sound. It's not too loud, I'd say it's just about right. I do follow the sort of saying of loud pipes save lives. I've had it in a couple of instances where I'm in between cars and that loud pipe definitely just tells people you're there, you know. Especially, and I think this is a South African thing, but the hawkers, you know, they're busy selling their goods on the side of the road and they just don't hear you on a, you know, a quiet scooter or something like that. So they, you know, move out your way. Oh, not sure how much you guys are going to be able to hear of this, but it really does sound pretty damn awesome. Okay, so let's go down to the downsides of having a cone filter. Well, cone filters need to be cleaned, and they need to be cleaned quite regularly. So I just put that foam surround on. Let's just quickly get through here. I put that foam surround on and I put air filter spray. The more I look at these steel cone filters, the more I dislike them. They're really just there to filter leaves. Whereas a foam filter, you can at least spray nicely and it will absorb a little bit more dust. And so far it's working out pretty well for me. Let's pull in here and fuel her up. She's she's at the point where she needs a little bit of juice. So I thought, well, let's fill her up and see what sort of efficiency we get. Yeah, that's sharp. Thank you. Alrighty, so we've just put 125 Rand in. That's 8.2 liters odd. So let's see what sort of mileage we get on that. If you guys want to see a video on the efficiency of this bike, just let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we've just gone from reserve to full tank. So let's see what sort of mileage we do on there. If you guys do want to see that, like I just said, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll surely do a video on that. There she goes. There she goes. I mean, she's got more than enough power to pull. Let's see if these guys are going to move out our way. No problem. No problem at all. So if you really don't mind doing your maintenance, you know, oiling your filter very often, cleaning it often, then the cone's no problem. In terms of performance, I'm not going to say you're going to gain a hell of a lot from going to a cone. Everything in the motor's stock, including exhaust. So so your real performance advantage, not really going to be there. Different story if you know, rejetting and doing all of that good stuff. But in this case, it would be more for sound or potentially cost. I mean, once you've got a cone, you can just, you know, wash it and then oil it. You're not replacing every time, which is a definite help. So what is important for a bike owner? I'd say first things first, the bike needs to be able to pull other vehicles at the robots. You don't want to be stuck in between two cars and then try pull away and you just don't have the power. Saying what's up to the boys, you know how it is. So the difference between full throttle and just sort of pulling the throttle a little bit, it's not going to be a heck of a lot. You don't have a ton of torque here, so you're not going to wide open throttle and just pull like crazy, that's for sure. Okay, so this is a good instance. We've got a taxi that's probably gonna pull first, a car on my right. Now we'll see if we'll be able to pull. No problem. And it's not that I'm really putting power down. I'm just sort of gently riding her. You don't need to full throttle this little guy all around. She's got enough torque for the hills, enough top speed for the main roads. In terms of a commuter, I really feel like this ticks all the boxes, especially at its price point. Now yes, there are some disadvantages. Something that I've been struggling with personally has been cold starts. Hence why I just did the plug and redid the air filter. At the moment she's doing alright with the cold starts, but every now and then, strangest thing, it just needs a little push start. And it's not that battery is dead or flat. That's sometimes on the trickle charger. So it's not that it's some shiftless shifting. Sorry, clutchless shifting. As far as fun per money, this is where it's at. This is really where it's at. I'd consider this pretty much a perfect first bike. It's going to give you enough to do sort of everything on the road, but not get you into too much trouble. Not too sure what my audio is going to be like in here. This is my first time doing the vlog in the Shark Carbon Spartan. If you guys want to see a video on that, just click up at the top here. I did a little review on this helmet. Quite a nice lid. Look at this. What a breeze to ride around. Really. So if there's more you want to see about this bike, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely make a plan to do a video for you guys. Like I said, I bought the bike back just for this. I am thinking of doing a little video, just slapping some decals on this baby, making her look a little bit sponsored. So let's see what happens. Oh, she purrs, she does. What I'm thinking is, if you guys can't hear the exhaust properly, the way I've mic'd this up, I'll actually do a video for you guys specifically relating to having a cone filter on the stock pipe, just so you guys can hear it out, just like I did my MT-07. Also, if you want to see that video, the link's up above. Brakes are pretty good. I mean, you're not stopping a ton of bikes, so just make sure. Yeah, no, there's a car behind me. I wanted to do a little brake test for you guys, but you know what, let's go find another little route. I'll do a little bit of brake testing. As far as suspension goes, I mean, you can see South African roads have potholes and all that jazz, but suspension's pretty good. You'd probably find it's on the softer side for a sport bike, but with it being a 250, I feel like this is right where it should be. Alrighty, I'm thinking let's try get up to. There's cars in the way. Yeah, it stops pretty damn quick. So I just hit 60 there, and yeah, she stops pretty quick. Let's try that again. I'd say that's plenty, and that's not. I wouldn't even say that's pushing the limit. That's comfortable. That's where I feel comfortable stopping to. So now the technical spec on this bike says it does about 4 liters per 100. Now my Yamaha B-Wiz used to do about 5 liters per 100 real world with a 100cc 2-stroke. Real world's obviously very different to their tests that they run, so very keen to see what this is going to do. The goal is 4 liters per 100. I don't know if that's achievable. We'll have to see. One of the funny things is, okay, my B-Wiz was heavily modified, so hence why it was doing that. Its spec was 3 liters per 100, but even stock I wouldn't really get 3. However, my MT-07, especially when you're cruising, it's happy doing 3.5 liters per 100 real world, which is very interesting. But it does boil down to how you ride. If you're opening throttle on that bad boy, you know you're going to consume fuel. And I'm going to assume very similarly for this. My B-Wars, jeepers, that would just go through 5 liters per 100 whether you're pinning it or not. That's just what it did. I'm quite comfortable. Yes, I'm a little bit hunched over. Do I find it an issue? Not at all. Something you'll just get used to. And I'm sure it makes the tuck quite easy if you really wanted to try get some speed out of it. Comfortable in corners. Wow. As a commuter, this is really nice. And I had quite a few comments saying, would you recommend this over a Japanese bike? Well, the simple answer is no. Probably never. But you're going to spend double for a Japanese bike. So what is your budget? You know, will your budget allow for, you know, quite a nice Japanese bike? Or are you going to end up with a Japanese bike that's not a bike, it's a scooter, because that's your budget? So no, it won't compete directly with a Japanese bike, especially... Oh, but hang on a second. Just when I'm talking a little bit of trash talk about the Megelli, it just got into like the sweet spot around 8,000 RPM and she just pulled that hill. So I owned a Honda CBR 250R for a little while, close on a year and a half, and that bike did not give me an ounce of issue ever. However, it is fuel injected, and that changes things. So definitely keep that in mind. Check this guy. You know, your fuel injected bikes are typically going to be a little bit easier to start in winter. You know, you don't have to clean carbs, things like that. So your Japanese bikes are going to be built better. Sometimes they'll come with like Brembo or Nissan brakes, you know, so your braking will be sharper. So one thing I did want to say, especially in comparison to a Japanese bike, you can definitely feel the difference. You know, your brake levers are going to be a little bit nicer. Your interaction with the bike is going to be a little bit nicer. However, as a commuter, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and that I find fantastic. There's that little zone, that butter zone. Here it is. So just before we go back to the studio, would I recommend a cone for anyone? Well, honestly, if you're happy to do the maintenance, go for it. Makes the bike sound awesome. And yeah, they're pretty cool in terms of, you know, you don't have to keep buying air filters. But if you're happy with the stock sound, I'd say leave it. Let's go back to the studio. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you. Thank you so much for coming to the end of the video. It really means a lot to me. And the support on the channel has been absolutely amazing. I really appreciate it. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next week. Cheers, guys.